Hi everyone, my name is Pancho. I'm the CEO of Frontier Performance. I have a very interesting discussion to talk to you, especially if you're involved in the sales industry, whether it's involved in real estate, automotive, private equity, pharmaceutical, it doesn't really matter. The topic that I'm talking about is what actually is a growth mindset. And to my left I have my son Arjun, who's going to be talking about the growth mindset. Now, the particular reason I've got him here today is because he's going on tour to play the Futures tournament for the Futures circuit over in Turkey, which is a tennis circuit to get your own ATP point so you can go and play on the ATP tour throughout all the world and make it as a professional tennis player. So I have one very interesting question that I get asked a lot, which is what exactly is a growth mindset?
For me, a growth mindset is constant improvement every day. So I want to go out onto court or doing whatever I was doing the day before and just get a little bit better at it. And if I can make leaps of improvement, that's great, but I want to make sure that I make constant improvement. And the most important thing is you don't stay stagnant, because you know, if you stay still, then the next person who's trying to do the same thing that you're doing is going to be catching up or overtaking you. So the growth mindset is such an important thing, you know, coachability.
Like how well do you take instruction to learn? Do you resist learning, or are you open to learning and taking a chance on being uncomfortable?
Exactly. And you know, one thing that I've always heard is that, oh, this drill is terrible, or you know, this structure is terrible, but it's not. The drill's not terrible, or the structure of how you're doing it is not terrible. You're just terrible at it.
Yes.
So, you know, the growth mindset is to become comfortable being uncomfortable, and then you take yourself to another level.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people need to understand a growth mindset has three key things that you need to work on. It has a psychological aspect, it has a strategic aspect, and it has a skills aspect. And it's always the little variables that make a big difference in what you do. How well do you execute? But that depends on how well do you actually think. And this is what we call the development person, the person who doesn't stay still.
Yeah, and just on that point, I just went away to Brisbane, as you know, and you know, I had my coach there, and you know, there were small things that we worked on, both psychologically and skill-wise. And in terms of my mental ability, I've been quite stable. I'm a very stable person on court. I'm very focused and so that for me, that's one of my strong areas. But there was this one part of my psychology that throughout my entire life, in the same situation, in different scenarios, my entire life, I had been making the same mistake. I was just unaware of it. And it's so hard to see yourself, you know, without someone really being able to, you know, come in and have a look at the game from an outside perspective. And the moment he showed me this one thing, it's like, wow. And now it's like I'm on a steamroll ahead, you know, and in small aspects like my skills, you know, that all played a small part, but you know, at this level, it's the small differences that make
the difference.
The big difference.
Yeah, and a lot of people get sucked into thinking that it's all about hard work. It's about punching out those phone calls, doing the hard numbers, and in fact, it's the total opposite. It's about working really smart, but smart is not just a generalized overview. It's being very specific with the smart activities, and that's where a lot of people fail, and that's the reason why it's told to everyone out there that it's a numbers game. In fact, it's the total opposite of that.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I forget the book that it's called. It says the 10,000 hours.
Yeah, the Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers. In fact, he talks about 10,000 hours to become a master of anything. And so what I did is I actually calculated how many hours that you had spent on court since the age of 4. And I came to a calculation that on-court time since to age 14 was 5,500 hours. Now, from 15 to 21, was another, it came to a total of about 12,000 hours.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about understanding the numbers and how much time do you actually spend on developing yourself and improving yourself. So many people keep on doing the same thing for the past 5 or 10 years and they go, I'm not progressing.
Yeah, and that I was in the same trap as well.
Yes.
Until recently, maybe I'd say 3 years ago, was my turning point. So I'd done all these hours, however many you said, 5,500 until I was 15 or so, and it was, you get into the stage of, it's just about hitting a lot of balls. Like, okay, so I'm missing, so I'm making errors. So what I've got to do is hit more balls. I've got to hit more. So I was playing 2 hours a day. So okay, I'll up it to 3. Then at 3 hours a day, I was still making the same errors. I was still. Must just be, I just got to hit more balls. So I go out and I'm doing 4 hours a day, then at one stage I was doing 5 hours of on-court, hitting a day, not including my gym work and I wasn't getting any better. I was in the exact same position, and that was the trap that I fell into. And my coach, he was able to dissect and be like, well, this is your psychology at these certain times. This is what you have a tendency to do. These are the things that you need to do. And he was able to show me the way. And then through that, so in the last 3 years, with the amount of work that I've done, has been a steam train to my destination. And
it's funny that, because there's a total of nearly 12,000 hours and we've still got a long way to go. But it's been the last 3,000 hours that where the growth has actually happened. Now, you can fast track that, but you actually need to be working with the right people. So you've heard about the growth mindset, you've heard about changing the game. If you're wanting to improve your conversion ratios, you're wanting to do something different, to take your conversion ratios to a higher level, to improve what you do on a daily basis, I urge you to call us now, because what we can do is show you a different way of changing your approach to, in fact, get better results on a daily basis. Call us now and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.